Hey everyone, and welcome back to part 2 with KO and Darkside Athletics. If you have not watched the first part or you haven't watched the entire one before, the links are in below. Make sure you watch those and keep up with the ones that come in later on this week. Let's get to it. So, like you said, I'm an introvert anyways. And as you probably remember, if I sat there and drank or went to a party, everybody's like, what the hell are you doing here? You know, great part. But my best friends, if you look on my Facebook, 3/4 of those are the ones I either play football with in high school, at Campbellsville, or at Georgetown. Even the ones that, I didn't really talk to a lot at that point. You still, just the fight that you have with each other, the amount of work you put in with each other, it's memorable for life. And going back on our time at Campbellsville, of course, football teams are always known for their leaders. And we had the privilege of playing under one of the biggest icons of Campbellsville with Coach Ron Finley. And if you look at people who have played under him and you look on their Facebook statuses and stuff like that, how much he touched all of our lives at that point, and so many of the stories that we could tell about Coach Finley. Like whenever I first started, he ended up having the surgery or something like that, and he went around in the damn golf cart.
Golf cart, yeah.
And he was running everybody over with the golf cart. That's the way he got your attention. It wasn't yelling at you. He'd hit you with the damn golf cart.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. So many things. What did he teach you, especially in kind of going into business, that part of mentality of, always being, if you're early, you're on time, if you're early, if you're you had Finley time,
Yeah.
if you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
The part of whenever we were people do. Did I what did that teach you as far as at that time and then going on?
Well, so, Coach Finley was a huge part of, who I am now. I always say that. You still there, Jamie?
Yeah, my camera is going on, but go ahead. It's still recording.
All right, so cool. So I always say Coach Finley was he was much more a father figure to me than he was a football coach. And we all say this. So in about 2 weeks, we have what we call the Ron Finley the weekend. And it's there's about 6 or 7 of us that all play for it. And we take a trip together, and we've been doing this for several years now. And we'll bring up the old man, and we talk about that, and every one of us agree with the same thing: is it wasn't X's and O's and football strategy and all that stuff we learned from him. It was how to be a man, how to be accountable. One I still use to this day is when things are going wrong, you go in that bathroom, you look in that mirror, that's usually where your problem is. And
Absolutely.
that was one of the biggest takeaways that I got from him was, and it's funny now in today's society because it's always somebody else's fault. Well, if you were under Coach Finley, there was only one person you blamed when stuff started going wrong, and that was yourself. And
Correct.
that right there transitioned for me into a lot of different things in my life. And in business, we get to talking about that, you'll see it come out. Biggest thing with Coach Finley to me is he taught you the finer points of being a man. and manners and other things like that. And I came from a very structured, old school, rural, family where if you didn't use manners, you got slapped upside that head.
Oh,
And you
absolutely.
you only didn't use manners once, because regardless of what people think, pain is still a hell of a motivator. So
Oh, yeah.
you learn pretty quick to use your manners. But Coach Finley had a way of saying and doing stuff that I don't think we all really understood until we started having families and becoming adults. And I mean real adults. Because even though I was the old man there, we're still, it's still 20-year-olds hanging out, partying, seeing what we can get away with. And really, later in life, I started certain things that would come back to me that he would say, and I'd be like, son of a biscuit. He was,
Yep.
he's dead on with this stuff.
Absolutely.
We got.
And that was some of the, like, you go on there, it's like we were from the country and we were taught a lot of these things anyways. Sure. Like the part of, you don't wear your hat in a building. Right. Yes, sir, no, sir. We were always, it was a requirement in Campbellsville, was the yes, sir, no, sir. And even to this day, I've always been brought up on that, and people think that was in the military. They always automatically say,
same thing.
Were you in the military for that? I'm like, no, yes. I'm from Kentucky, where that's the way we were taught anyways.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old you are. You were brought that way or you got smacked.
That's exactly right.
You got reminded real soon of the respect for your elders or anybody at that point.
Amen, brother. There was no ever doubting that part. You better have respect or you'll get taught it real quick.
Absolutely. So after college and everything, did you have a master plan of what you wanted to do after college, or to make money and stuff like that?
So again, I'm hoping if, people listen to this, the biggest thing they get from this is that there's no set plan. Your biggest plans that you think is going to happen may not. And if they don't, that's okay. So I was going to teach and coach like most of us that went to Campbellsville do. I got my teaching degree. I got a job, pretty quick out of school. First year, I didn't have much. Second year, I got an opportunity here where I'm at in Bardstown for Bethlehem High School, which is a Catholic school. They had just started a football program. They'd only had a football program here just a little bit. A couple years, I think, before I came on board. And I got the job because one of our former players was teaching here and was going to leave and coaching. And he put a good word in for me. And I feel like that's probably a lot of our coaching and teaching jobs went that way. Because if you notice, a lot of our alumni and football players all teach and all coach. We've got tons of coaches. Right here in town, we've got Phil Stockdale is the head coach at Nelson County. I run all of Phil's performance training over there. And he knew that I was here, and that was one of the reasons he took the job, because he knew I could help him with the strength and conditioning part. So after I got done, the plan was, hey, I'm going to teach and I'll coach. And I got a job here in Bardstown. And after 2 years, something happened. Now, after football was over, I needed something to do. And I'm from Glasgow, around Glasgow, Kentucky, and they have what they call Scottish Highland Games. If you don't know what they are, you can look them up, or if you've ever seen the guys in kilts throwing telephone poles, that's what I did. Now, there's 7 events to it, and they contest them all over the United States. And I'd gotten to a point where I started that right after college. So in '98, I started traveling all over the South doing games as an amateur. So didn't really think much about this, and I got really addicted to it because it was giving me an outlet of competition that I didn't have because I didn't have football anymore.
Yeah.
Totally, I'd never done anything like this. So throwing, if you had a track and field background, you're in good shape. I didn't have any background of that. So I had to learn everything on the fly. But luckily enough, I had enough strength and enough athletic ability that I was pretty decent, but not by no means, oh, this guy's going to be great or this guy will be a pro. No.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked. And again, like you just said a minute ago, when you grew up on a farm, you didn't know that you were grinding every day. You just thought that was life. That was just what we did.
Oh, yeah.
You wake up early, you hit the fields early, you get home late. That's what you did. That's the way life worked. So
there was no, I can't do it.
No, there was no.
You figure out a way to do it.
I don't feel good today. I don't think I'll work. No. So for me, again, that came back into play. I outworked everybody else. And that's where it kind of all comes to a head here. So 2 years out of teaching, I had an opportunity to turn professional. And I knew I was going to turn pro eventually. And I had asked the administration, hey, there's going to be some Fridays I need off to. Now, at the time, I'm still coaching football. So,
mm-hmm.
It was going to be more spring and summer, not so much fall. And, the summer's fine because you were off anyways. But there was going to be some dates I needed off. And they weren't good with that. I said, well, all right then. Now, this is crazy. This is where, most people be like, what are you, a dumbass? I quit my teaching job. I took a job at a local gym working the front desk. Made a little less money, but I knew I was free. Now, I still kept coaching, so I was still coaching football at the same place, just changed jobs. I went to school, forever how long to be a teacher, and I just up and quit it because I had a faith in myself
mm-hmm.
that this was going to be something that I was going to, do. And trust me on this, Jamie, when I tell you this, there's no part of me that thought, hey, one of these days you're going to be a professional, you're going to win a world championship, you're going to win a national championship, and you're going to be considered a legend. Never, ever, ever, ever did that cross my mind. I just wanted to make a little money.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, hey, I can throw this stuff on the weekends, have a good time doing it, and get paid. Oh, I'm in. And
yeah, and that's where your discipline and your work ethic kind of kicks in, anyways. Yes. And the good things come in behind.
Now, what's crazy about this is that Coach Finley was very well versed in Scottish Highland Games, and when he found out, when he found out I was doing this, he was super excited and wanted to know all about it. It was very funny because I didn't know he knew anything about this.
I didn't either.
But yeah, we had several talks about it. Doing it. What the sport took, all that stuff. But so that's basically right after college. I taught for a couple of years. Then I took the job at this gym, and then at the gym, that's about a year or two later, I said, let me start doing some, personal training. I felt like I'd been around long enough to kind of start helping other people out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into me quitting the gym and starting my own personal training business, which had never been done here. Nobody in Bardstown did that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just kind of took a risk, a leap of faith And I guess I would say that I invested in myself.
Mm.
So, and people always say, man, I can't believe you did that. I said, do you know how easy that is? And they're like, how is that easy? It's pretty simple. Either I make this work or I starve. So
Oh yeah.
you find ways really quick to make stuff work that you want to. And I knew I was going to be good at it because I had a passion for it, and I still do. So that's kind of where we got to, right after, right after college, taught just for a couple of years, and then kind of settled into, my Highland Games sport and personal training. So I would do my personal training from early morning till about 2 o'clock. I'd go over, I'd practice Highland Games stuff for about an hour. Then we'd go to football practice. I'd get done there, go home, watch film, in bed by 9, 10 o'clock, up, got to do it all over again. So that was basically my life for several years.